Good evening, everyone. If we could grab a seat, we can get started here for the evening. Okay, once again, good evening, everybody. My name is Jeff Casella. I'm the athletic director here at Mentor High School, and it's great pride and great pleasure that I welcome you to our 2024 Fall Mentor Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We're finally getting caught up after a few years of the pandemic and starting to honor some of our former coaches, student athletes, and teams, and getting them in their rightful place in the Mentor High School Sports Hall of Fame. These last two Hall of Fames have been pretty special to me. The last one we did, and then this one, I personally have had contact with every one of these teams or coaches or individuals, either as the athletic trainer back in the day at Mentor High or now as athletic director. So it's great to see everybody back and a lot of familiar faces, and I welcome you back, and I hope you enjoy your time here this evening, hearing some stories about these great individuals and teams. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome to the stage our MC for the evening, and I'm sure you'll recognize his voice. That's Mr. Rick Damberg.
Thank you, Jeff. I think it's only appropriate that I open up with, "Here come the Cardinals." That's right. There's going to be a lot of great Cardinals that we're going to be honoring tonight. It's so nice to see so many of you. I appreciate so much for Jeff to have me come back and announce tonight's Hall of Fame induction. The first inductee tonight is Mr. Joe Corrigan, head gymnastics coach. Coach Joe Corrigan, that's right, give him a big hand. Coach Joe Corrigan was the longest tenured gymnastics coach at Mentor High School and still volunteers his time with the team today working out of Lake Erie Gymnastics School. Coach Corrigan was the coach of the 2012 and 2015 state runner-up teams. He had 20 of his teams qualify for the state tournament and had a stretch of 16 years in a row of qualifying teams. He coached 41 individual state qualifiers, of which 6 reached the podium at the state meet. He coached 1 bar state champion and 1 all-around state champion. His team won 4 district championships, and he was named District Coach of the Year 3 times. He was also named State Coach of the Year and won the Ohio Coaches Integrity and Sportsmanship Award. Coach Corrigan's impact on the sport of gymnastics at Mentor High will be one of long-term legacy and promotion of the sport of gymnastics in Mentor and the state of Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, let's honor Mr. Joe Corrigan.
Thank you. And thank you, Mentor Sports Committee, for choosing me in this fine honor. I have always said that I've learned more from my gymnasts than my gymnasts have learned from me. Just growing up with them and seeing how the world changes, and believe me, it's changed a lot in these last few years. So I've learned from them. My memories of the sport are great and fond. Kristen Kirby, who's also being honored today, was one of my gymnasts. And I went to her wedding. And make a big man cry, her wedding party consisted of all gymnasts. And I saw that because she was on a team of 8 seniors. And their grade point average for these 8 seniors was a 4.2. Can't beat that. So we had no problem with grades at that time. Since she is getting on, I want to say a few things about her first. There's a trick on bars that you have to, if you have watched the Olympics lately, where the girls fly from one bar to the other. Well, there's a trick on bars that was like that. You're coming from the high bar and going down to the low bar. And the average time to learn this trick is about 1.5 years. Kristen learned it in one session for 45 minutes, from never doing it to doing it by herself. Good job. So that's one of the great things I remember about her. She was a great leader and really, really fun to be around. And if you can keep up with how fast she talks, you would learn a lot. My other other things I've learned in gymnastics and is that when you're coaching girls, you never listen to them. Because if you listen to them, you would not understand what they're saying anyway. So one time there was a bunch of girls that said, "Oh, Joe's here. We shouldn't be talking about this." Guess what? I wasn't listening. So whenever you're around young girls, don't listen to them, because it'll mess you up anyway. I started gymnastics because I had 4 daughters, and guess what? I couldn't teach them how to play football. So I started learning I volunteered at the Y program and started coaching gymnastics that way. And then one time they decided, okay, let's see if kids want to do gymnastics. So we started the mentor gymnastics team. And as you said, he read about the 20 straight times we qualified for state. My best memory of all my girls is that they were all good people. And they graduated from high school, went to college. We have doctors, nurses, teachers, all kinds of professional people, lawyers. All of my girls have been successful through the sport of gymnastics because you have to work so hard to learn it. A testimony of how well you get together is Kristen's wedding party of all gymnasts. And that's why I enjoyed the sport. Thank you again, Mentor, for allowing me to do this sport and coach this high school. And when I didn't go to Mentor, but I feel like I am part of Mentor, because that's how good the school was. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Let me get my glasses. The next recipient has a lot of meaning to me because I taught him in 6th grade at Rice Elementary. Coach Jim Funk. Coach Jim Funk was a coach that was synonymous with being a Cardinal. Jim coached football for 35 years, in Mentor, and basketball for 26 years for the Cardinals. In football, from 1994 to 1998, he was the special teams coordinator for the varsity program, and from 1999 to 2022, he was the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals. During his tenure with the Cards, his teams made 20 playoff appearances, 7 regional championships, and had 4 state runner-up finishes. His defenses were very hard-hitting, fundamental, and were well coached in all areas of the game. As a basketball coach, he coached the 8th grade boys teams at Shore Middle School and then moved on to the high school as the freshman boys coach for 23 years. He was a member of the 2013 state championship coaching staff for the Cardinals. Jim's dedication to the student athletes of Mentor is to be remembered and celebrated throughout his entire coaching career. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Funk.
First of all, I would like to sincerely thank the members of the committee for this wonderful honor. I am humbled and flattered for this recognition. I would also like to recognize and congratulate Coach Corgan and Coach Parsons for being selected as coaching inductees as well. And I'd also like to congratulate all of the athletes and teams who are being honored here tonight. I certainly never thought that this honor would be bestowed upon me when I left Mentor High School as a graduate in 1982. Yes, I know, that means I'm really old. After graduation, I headed off to college to Edinburgh State, where I was planning on being a college football player and studying business. When college football didn't pan out for me after a year, I was content to become a student in the business department. However, my former high school homeroom teacher here at Mentor and former football coach, the late Jim Smith, called me in July and asked if I would help coach freshman football with him and the late Harry Percival over at Ridge Junior High during two-a-days. I told Coach Smith that I'd never coached anything before, and he said, well, I think I need some help with the secondary. And yes, for all of my Shore Cardinals, I did begin my coaching career with the Ridge Rams, and I apologize for that. That experience changed my life, and for the next 40 years, I found myself coaching football and switching my major to education. I'd like to thank the late Randy Clements and the late Dick Kirschbaum for giving me the opportunity to then immediately begin working with the varsity here at Mentor High while I was still in college. After coaching and teaching in the far reaches of Madison and East Liverpool, Ohio for 4 years, I was able to come back to Mentor and coach for the remaining 33 years of my career. I'd like to thank the many athletic directors that I had the opportunity to work with, including Marty Hoover, Max Ness, and the late Dale Garris for all of their support. I'd also like to thank Jeff Casella for all his support and friendship during our many years of working together, first as a trainer and then as our athletic director. I know he enjoyed hearing my critiques on the quality of the football and basketball officials that we had on games. During my 30-plus years coaching football, I had the opportunity to work with many outstanding coaches. While I served as defense coordinator, I had over 20 different coaches work with me. I would like to thank all of them for the countless hours watching film, drawing and coloring play cards, and helping to prepare our players for success. Among the many coaches over the years, I'd like to acknowledge Jeff and Steve Grubich, Jeff Perry, Len Taylor, Hector Gonzalez, Ian Knepp, and Nick DeCesar for all of their hard work. I'd also like to thank Jim Kusar and Dean Paglio, who volunteered for many years to help us coach defense. Though they spent most of their years coaching offense, I'd like to extend a thanks to Don Schutz, Ed Pollock, and Ness Janiak. Their support, advice, and friendship was truly valued. Finally, I would always appreciate the long hours that Bob Burwald and Jordan Wilcox put in working alongside me for so many years. The friendship that we developed as coaches extended well beyond just coaching and included many family events, weddings, birthdays, and graduations over the years. One of my greatest joys as a coach was having former players come back and coach with me on the defensive side of the ball. Over the years, we had Fred Hale, Tom Brew, Brandon Mack, Shane Mitro, J.J. Lasik, Ron Cordero, and Joe Casper all come back to Mentor and help us on the defensive side of football. I'd like to thank Matt Gray for allowing me to serve as his first defensive coordinator. It was a pleasure to watch him develop into the coach he is today. I'd also like to thank all of the basketball coaches that I had the pleasure to work with over the years. Dennis Bender, Paul Kopp, Sean Toot, Steve Thompson, Ron Wood, Brian Walukas, Dave Kriz, Aaron May, and Neil Grants for all the help and support they gave me. I'd also like to say thank you to Bob Krasanchik for all of his support over the many years that I served on his staff. His friendship is something that I always value. I would also like to recognize my fellow inductee, Chris Parsons. The years coaching freshman basketball with him were some of the most enjoyable experiences. And it was certainly more fun coaching with you, Coach Parsons, than against you when you were at Ridge. So thank you for all of that. When I was at East Liverpool, it was Steve Trevisano who called me to let me know that there was going to be a coaching and teaching opening here at Mentor. I am forever grateful that he made that call. Steve and I had known each other since high school. We actually first coached together in Madison. Over the years, it was my pleasure to coach alongside of him. I consider him to be one of the biggest influences on my coaching career. By the way, I had the opportunity to serve over 25 years coaching with Coach Triv and Coach K. I learned from both of them the ability to stay calm, relaxed, and never get emotional on game nights. I would like to thank all of the players that I had the opportunity to coach in football and basketball over the years. My induction here tonight is a result of their hard work and talent. The players' successes are the greatest joy of my career. During my many years of coaching, I had several of my high school friends attend countless games all over the state. I'd like to thank Bill Haddon and Mark Wenzel, who are here tonight, for all of their support over the years. I'd also like to thank Mike Bailey and the late Rich Kirker for their support and friendship. As far as my family is concerned, I owe my gratitude and love to my parents for their support over the many, many years. My mom, Ruth, and my dad, Jim, always watched or listened to the Mentor football games. I'd like to thank my sister Kim, her husband Scott, and their family, as well as my brother Norm, his wife Kathy, and their family for all the love and the support over this long, long career. I'd also like to thank my mother-in-law, Sandy Trampty, and my late father-in-law, Rich Trampty, for all the games that they attended to support me. I'd like to thank my daughter Lauren, her husband Brent, and my granddaughter Lila for all the love and support. Having Lauren serve as a trainer on the football team was one of the great experiences that I had. I'd also like to thank my son Cody for his constant support. Getting to coach him as a defensive lineman was one of my proudest accomplishments. I want to thank my daughter and son for always being my biggest fans. Finally, one of the biggest reasons for my success was the love and support of my wife. I must acknowledge the incredible sacrifices that my wife Holly made raising two children 11 months apart while I was coaching multiple sports for many, many years. Her support for the players and coaches was endless, whether it was making cookie bars for the coaching staff or making food for the team dinners. All of those things she did with love. She truly was the force behind my career. I thank her for allowing me to do what I did. Again, I would like to thank everyone who supported me and helped me throughout the years. It was an awesome experience. I would not trade it for anything. As we say, once a card, always a card. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Our next recipient tonight, Mr. Chris Parsons, coach of basketball, golf, and football. Coach Chris Parsons' energy and enthusiasm was his calling card for Mentor. An avid promoter of the student athlete, Coach Parsons held his student athletes to a higher standard and made them better citizens. Coach Parsons' coaching career started at Ridge Junior High, where he coached 7th and 8th grade basketball for 10 years, freshman boys basketball for 15 years, before taking over the duties of athletic director at Ridge Junior High School for 8 years. He also coached football at the junior high level during his time at Ridge. He continued coaching at Mentor High as the freshman boys basketball coach for another 12 years and was a member of the 2013 state championship team coaching staff. Also at Mentor High, he was the assistant and then eventually head coach of the boys golf team starting in 2010. As golf coach, his teams were 6-time Division I district qualifiers. He coached 4 individual district qualifiers and had one of his golfers qualify for the OHSAA state tournament. Chris Parsons will be fondly remembered as an advocate for the athletes of Mentor and an all-around great coach and a great guy. Chris Parsons, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm both honored and humbled to be standing before you tonight. I appreciate the Hall of Fame committee deeming me worthy of this great honor, and also congratulate my fellow inductees, some of whom I had as athletes, others I had as students. You're all well deserving of this honor, and I'm proud to consider myself worthy to stand alongside you tonight. This was the furthest thing from my mind when I started coaching back in the Stone Ages at Ridge Junior High. However, here we are, and there are numerous people I have to thank for this honor. First and foremost, my family, beginning with my wife, who will be nominated soon for the Cookie Hall of Fame. Any player who played for me after wins knows exactly what I'm talking about. Next, with my family, my daughter Alexis, who is unable to be here tonight. She's coaching high school volleyball. My daughter Olivia, who had a friend cover her night shift in the ER, who's here tonight. My daughter Eliza, who is supporting me from afar in Georgia, and my son Ian, who drove up from OU to be here tonight. I thank them all. They say that they've supported me throughout the years. Their support has been phenomenal. And they say that children make you a better teacher and a better coach, and this could not be more true of them. For that, I'm truly blessed. I would also be remiss if I wouldn't thank my parents, my dad looking down from heaven, beaming with pride as my mom, who is 99 in about 2 weeks, told me last week she's at home waiting to hear about this wonderful event. Finally, my siblings who are here tonight, my brother Rob, my sister Beck, my sister Elaine, my sister Beatty, who is in Maryland, and my brother Ron, who is at home, who is my hero. They are supporting me from afar. They set the values for me, for my coaching and my teaching. Hard work, dedication, perseverance, these values inspired me to help athletes achieve their best and their fullest potential here at Mentor. That was always the goal. The goal was to help athletes achieve their fullest potential. Winning came second. Oftentimes, if you can inspire an athlete to do their best and have their best performance, then you've succeeded, win or lose. Life skills are very important, and most of them are taught through sports. I believe that fully. A true blessing I have are all the athletes that I have coached throughout the years, those who have been able to keep in touch with. Oftentimes, I share a special bond with those, seeing them, visiting with them, getting a phone call, a text, sharing time together was special, and many of them made this coaching experience for me seem unreal. I'm proud to have been a small part of their journey as they turned into great citizens and outstanding individuals in their own community. I will always tell them, as I did back then, that there will be ups and downs, and there will be highs and lows, and there will be tough times, but you will make it through it if you persevere. I also like to thank some outstanding coaches, and since Jeff said I only had 2.5 minutes, I didn't list all of them. So I do have a few that I do have to recognize tonight. Head coaches Steve Trevisano and Bob Kazanzik and Dennis Bender all gave me the opportunity to coach athletes in their programs. To them, I truly am thankful for their support, and they all hold a special place in my heart. Then there are the other coaches who I've coached with and against. Many of them here tonight, and often too numerous to really name, but they know that they will always hold a special place in my heart. One person I do have to recognize, and he recognized me first, he got to do it first, was Coach Jim Funk. Coach Jim Funk and I have coached for over 30 years, either together or apart. Coaching against Coach Funk and coaching with Coach Funk was a true experience. Much better coaching with than against. I learned a lot from Jim and truly appreciate not only his coaching ability, but his friendship. Two members of this Hall of Fame who had a great impact on my coaching career were Steve Heller and Ness Janiak. They were my sounding boards as a young coach. I could not have asked for better mentors or role models to follow. They both were instrumental in me becoming the coach that I became here in Mentor for the Mentor athletes. Me being inducted to this Hall of Fame is a tremendous honor. To know that I'm alongside these great athletes, teams, coaches make me very proud. I wish everyone a great evening, and I want to thank you all for this moment in time, and as always, go Cards.
Thank you, Mr. Chris Parsons. And now we're getting to the athletes of the Hall of Fame. Our next recipient will be Kent Berger, football and basketball, class of 2014. I remember saying his name a lot of times. Kent Berger was a standout football and basketball player for the Cardinals, who went on to continue his football career at Ohio University, where he was captain his senior year. For the Cardinal football program, Kent was a member of the 2013 state runner-up team and 2012 Final Four team. In 2012, he was All-Ohio Honorable Mention, First Team All-News Herald, and All-District. He was NOC Defensive Player of the Year in both 2012 and 2013. In 2013, he was All-Ohio First Team News Herald, First Team All-District, and Lake County Defensive Player of the Year. In basketball, he was a member of the 2013 state championship team and a member of 3 conference championship teams. He was a 3-year letter winner in both football and basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kent Berger.
Man, if you would have known me when I was anywhere between like 1st and 7th grade, you would never have believed I'd be here. I was known as the tall, uncoordinated kid, tripping over his feet all the time. But it truly is an honor to be here today and be recognized among these athletes and coaches, some of which that I had the experience to play alongside. So really means a lot to me. A couple quick thank yous to my parents for taking my sisters and I all over creation, whether it was to travel sports, games, extra trainings. They really bent over backwards to provide for us and help us live out our dreams as athletes. To my sisters for always leading the way, both in the classroom, in sports, and helping me become a better man still today. And they're 2 of my best friends, so thank you. To my coaches and my teammates, all the memories that we made along the way were amazing, and it's something that I hold dearly to my heart today. And instead of sharing a memory specifically, I figured I'd share kind of a lesson that I learned, and really it's the congruence between life and sport, right? Between winning and losing. And we won a lot of games, but we lost a lot of games too. We lost some tough games, and those are the ones that I remember. Those are the ones that fueled me to work harder, and I learned lessons from, and I was able to move on and become a better person from it. And I think I can speak probably on behalf of a lot of athletes. When you move on from playing at a high level, there's this like kind of empty pit within you, like, what do I do next? Like, I don't have sports anymore, I don't have my teammates. And for me, the shift when I realized like, hey, you know, the playing field just changed. I'm not on a court, I'm not on the gridiron, I'm playing the game of life. But the difference, contrary to most games, the game of life, it's not me versus you, it's me versus me. And on the clock, it's blacked out, you can't see it. So you just got to try to run that score up until that buzzer sounds, because you never know when it's going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent Berger. Congratulations. The next recipient, football, Mr. Tom Brew. The Cardinal co-captain, 3-year letter winner and middle linebacker, was an outstanding performer for Mentor. He was the keystone of the defense that led the Cardinals to their first Elite 8 appearance. His teams won 2 Lake Erie League titles in 2001 and 2002. He was named to the Lake Erie League and News Herald first teams those seasons. In 2002, he was named Plain Dealer Defensive Player of the Year. and Great Lakes Region Defensive Player of the Year. He was named to the Cleveland Touchdown Club First Team and the All-Ohio Third Team in 2002. Tom went on to play collegiately at Case Western Reserve University, where he was a first-team All-American. Speaking of the All-American, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Brew.
Kent, you should have rose that up. Where are you? A little taller than me. It's a crazy time of year, huh? It's an emotional time. Well, good evening, everyone. I want to start by thanking the Hall of Fame committee, my coaches, teammates, and family for this incredible honor. And congrats to all the honorees tonight. Very special moment in all our lives. It's truly humbling to stand here tonight and reflect on how football has shaped my life, not just as an athlete, but as a person. I never imagined I'd be up here tonight. And it is a special moment for me and my family. We almost missed tonight due to the birth of our third wonderful child. But I digress. To Chris Whitaker, I appreciate your passion for the Mentor sports community and giving back to the school who also shaped your life. And a special thanks to you all in attendance. Thanks for choosing to take time to join tonight's celebration. Some of you recognized tonight may have impacted your life, and you showed up because tonight meant something to you. You chose to be here, and we are all grateful for it and your support. So thank you. As I reflected on the ability to enter this prestigious hall, I was torn on a message I wanted to share. Should it be philosophical, inspirational, drop a few jokes that may or might not land, share stories from the glory days, but I decided to write this from the heart. I wish my parents would be here tonight. They're always my #1 fans. But I have my sister to thank and my lovely wife, Dana. I'm an emotional person. I cry a lot, actually. But anyways, we had so much fun together, growing as individuals, as a team, but more importantly as a family, building special bonds with each other and the staff. I also thank Jeff Casella for taping my ankles every single day. 2 days, sometimes 3 times a day, right? Is that fair? So thank you, Casella. I know we had a lot of fun with special bonds, building with each other, and I know Casella can attest to our group of guys having probably more fun than we probably should have, with all the chatter in the training room, taping our ankles and whatnot, and jumping in those ice tubs that we love to have in the garbage cans. Many athletes in their respective sports can relate, but when you join a team, you don't just become a player. You become part of a brotherhood that's bound by shared effort, sacrifice, and the love for the sport. I'm here just for football, and I love the sport of football. Sometimes over the weekends, I get very animated at a game, and Dana jokes, "Why are you so upset?" I'm just like, "It's bad football. It's just horrible. Like, how can someone be proud of that play?" And that's just goes ingrained in just how I was raised and my love for the sport. But you push each other, hold each other accountable, and stand shoulder to shoulder no matter what comes your way. It's a bond that goes beyond the field, and it's a bond for life. And Eddie and Kent, you're part of that brotherhood, and I'm grateful to be part of your lives as well. I was able to coach them in just one small fraction of their career. And that's what makes football unique. It's not just about executing plays, it's about building relationships with the people who believe in you, who push you, and who support you every step of the way. So to my family, your love and support have been my foundation, always cheering me on in both the victories and the defeats. To my teammates and past players, you showed me the true meaning of brotherhood, and together we built something greater than any of us could ever done alone. We had so much talent on our team, and several big personalities, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it, and even a small part of their lives as well. To my coaches, you didn't just teach me how to be a better player, you taught me how to be a better leader, person, and teammate. I wouldn't be up here on stage if it wasn't for another recipient tonight that I'm eternally grateful for, Mr. Jim Funkmaster Flex. He will mostly not remember this encounter, but as a historian with a much better memory than me, he may. After my sophomore year and as we started the off-season, Funk pulled me aside to give me some tough love. I was just a 15-year-old punk kid at the time with no self-confidence, who could have went down a different path and was going through the motions, whether it was lifting sessions or 7-on-7 drills. I'm paraphrasing here, but it was a short statement of, Brew, when are you going to get your act together? You can be something special if you want. That simple gesture that he may have done many or dozens of times, if not hundreds, for others, was a pivotal point in my playing career. And I'm so thankful that it happened, that it changed my whole life. It's incredible to share this night with him, with a man I dearly look up to as a father figure, and one who I wanted to make proud. Coach Funk, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That brings me to love. Coming from a very small family gave me a second family, and from that I learned the power of love in all its forms. Love for the game, love for your teammates, love for the process, love for the journey. It's the kind of love that comes from shared struggle, from sacrificing, and from achieving something bigger than yourself. And it's that kind of love that lasts forever. Mentor football builds that sense of family, instills love for the game and the people around you, and shapes some of the strongest leaders you'll ever find. And that leadership extends beyond the field. The lessons you learn in football, how to persevere, how to be resilient, how to love and support those around you, stick with you. They make you a leader in your family, in your workplace, and in your community, wherever that may be. Thinking about the football players and coaches as part of this Hall of Fame, you can't think of better people, and that's what the culture breeds. Mentor football didn't just teach me how to play a game, it taught me to live with heart, with resilience, and most of all, with love. For that, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you for this honor, and thank you for being part of my journey. Much love. Cheers.
Thank you and congratulations. The next recipient, and I said his name a lot when I was announcing football. The next recipient will be Eddie Dougherty, football and track and field. Eddie was from the class of 2015. Eddie Dougherty was a special athlete that excelled in both football and track and field for the Cards. The football team captain helped to lead his teams to a 36-6 record during his time at Mentor. In 2014, he was the Mentor Offensive MVP, first team All-Conference, All-Lake County, and All-News Herald. He was named Northeast District Player of the Year and first team All-Ohio. As part of the track and field team, he was a 4-time letter winner and 2-time field MVP for the Cardinals. He was a 2-time conference champion, and in 2014 was district champion in the high jump. He was a 2-time state qualifier in 2013 and 2014, and was All-Ohio in 2014 and 2015. He went on to play collegiate football at Eastern Michigan University. Let's introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eddie Dougherty. Touchdown, Eddie Dougherty.
Tom, you could have brought it down. Sorry, I get very nervous, so. When Coach Greg called me to tell me, obviously I was grateful. I was super, super thankful, but I was also shocked. I thought to myself, it really hasn't been that long, so how how? But my family and my friends, they saw it a different way, saying things like, hard work pays off, or you deserve it, or things like that. Another one of my friends had something else to say. He said, think about everything you did for that school. To be honest, it changed how I looked at this a lot. Immediately, memories of football and track started coming back, and moments like catching records in state games, or, placing 7th in high jump, being 5'6". But then other memories started pouring back. Memories like having car talks with Zach after practice. Memories like just going down to Coach Pollock's office and not wanting to be in class. But it was, But it was a realization that this school has done so much more for me than I could ever do for them. It was a realization that I got lucky. My mom worked, got me here, and was able to let me live out a dream that a lot of my family and a lot of people I grew up with didn't get to live out. So I thank you. I thank this school. I thank my coaches. I thank my family. I thank my trainers. I thank my friends. I thank the people that weren't friends with me, the people that hated me, the people that motivated me. I thank everybody, because this is an honor, a blessing, and something that I always dreamed of. I was a kid that was going through so much at that time, and people like Pollock, people like Parcell, they became beacons of light and hope for me and many other people that were going through a lot of things in their life. If they weren't there, I truly believe that I would have walked down the wrong path, and that's why I am so thankful and so humble now. Instead, I was able to become a better version of myself each day. I was able to compete at the highest level of football you can in Ohio. I was able to have fun with the people I care about. Every kid deserves that light, that beacon of hope, and I'm so thankful that Mentor gave me the opportunity to have those people in my life. So once again, thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys.
Thank you. Congratulations, Eddie Dougherty. Our next recipient, a star in softball, Miss Allison Gock. Allison was from the class of 2016. Allison Gock was an outstanding softball pitcher for the Mentor Cardinals. In her freshman year, she set school records with 234 strikeouts in 186 innings to lead the Cardinals to the state Final Four. She was named News Herald Player of the Year in 2013 and 2016. She was named to the Northeast Ohio Conference first team all 4 years of her high school career. A career highlight was throwing a perfect game in 2015 versus top-ranked Keystone High School. Allison went on to compete and pitch at Eastern Illinois University. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Miss Allison Gock.
Oh gosh. So I had this short, sweet, and to-the-point speech, and honestly, I just don't think it gives justice to the people in my life. Starting with just the Hall of Fame committee, thank you for this opportunity. I mean, I was truly caught off guard getting that call from Mr. Casella saying, hey, you are being inducted. And I just, honestly, the first thought that came to my mind was, has it been that long? Like, and I know this is gonna upset people, but like, I just feel old. And I just didn't realize that this time has come that I would be getting to stand here and receiving such an honor. First and foremost, I want to thank my parents for basically going above and beyond for me. Without them, nothing would be possible. I don't even know, like, from traveling nonstop to my games, missing their work, to go to practices, from pitching in the backyard constantly. My dad built a mound in the backyard, so we were always out there. Basically, they did everything for me, and I could not be more grateful for them. Next, for my teammates and coaches, I, again, would not be here without them today. They have what pushed and shaped me into the athlete and person that I am today. I've been through a lot of different teams, but honestly, some of my favorite teammates are from Mentor. Honestly, without Mentor and the family that we've built here, I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't have gone on to play in college. I think one memory that will last forever is us spending a 7-hour rain delay in Akron my freshman year at the mall. We were riding the trains in the mall. That's what we did to pass the time. And we were the only game that got to play that day while everyone got to play the next day. But I mean, there's so many more memories, but that'd be too long of a list. But again, I just want to say how greatly appreciative I am to be receiving this honor, and I want to thank everybody, and go Cards.
Congratulations, Miss Allison Gock. Our next recipient, Miss Kristen Kirby, gymnastics, cheerleading, track, class of 2000. An all-around athlete, Kristen Kirby was a leader in her sports and excelled at all of them. As a gymnast for the Cardinals, she was a 4-time state qualifier, placing 5th in floor exercise in 1999, 7th on vault in 2000, 9th on vault in 1999, 14th all-around in 1999, and 15th all-around in 2000. She was district vault champion in 1999 and 2000, and district all-around champion in 2000. Her teams won district titles in 1997, 1999, and 2000. She was News Herald Company Gymnast of the Year in 2000. On track, she was 4-time regional qualifier. She set 2 school records in the 4x400 relay and the 4x200 relay. She was first team All News Herald and the team sprinting MVP in 2000. In addition, she was also named to the National Cheerleading Association All-American Squad. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kristen Kirby.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here to support your loved one that's being recognized this evening. I know we all appreciate it so much. For many of us, it's probably the support and encouragement from family and friends like you who got us here in the first place. I know that's definitely the case for me, so I want to start by saying thank you to my husband, Doug, my babies, Emily and Evan, my mom, of course, my brother, my sister-in-law, Megan, Leona and Ari, our dear friend, Carol, and my brother-in-law, Sean. They're all here with me tonight. Thank you so much. My admin team friends, Craig and Barb and Carrie and Jeff, also here, and some of my coaches here as well. Leave it to a coach like Joe Corgan to come up here about something that's supposed to be about him and make it so much about me. That's the kind of coach that he is. I love you guys all so much, and Joe, I'll try to make sure I talk slow enough, or not as fast as I normally do so that I'm understood today. It really means a lot for me that you all are here. And congratulations to all the inductees. What an impressive group of people, and I thank the committee for selecting me to be a part of it. I feel tremendously honored. As I reflected on what I wanted to say this evening, I think the most important thing to mention is gratitude. I'm a big believer that having gratitude leads you to cherish the moments and to find joy. And there sure is a lot of that happening around here tonight, and that is really an awesome thing to see. I feel beyond lucky to have had all of the opportunities Mentor Schools, and of course my parents, provided for me, and then the encouragement and support that helped make sure that I made the most of those opportunities. I'm so grateful for the incredible coaches and teammates that I spent my childhood with each and every day so that we could learn and grow together. Sports really are a special thing. You know, the way sports can bring people together, the way a community rallies around a team, it's just special. And it's fun no matter what level you're playing at. So I think, as we've heard from a lot of the other inductees, it ends up not really being about the wins and losses, although if we're being real here for a minute, I think all of us in this room like the memories of the wins a little bit better than the losses. But it's more about the stories, the sportsmanship, the skills and the lessons, the relationships that were built through the sports that we played. It's learning that you can achieve beyond your natural talent if you work hard for it. If you want to get that new awesome skill in gymnastics, like let's talk about the shoot over for instance, I always knew that work ethic, focus, drive, and determination, that's how I'm going to earn that skill. But at the same time, and I think an equally important lesson, is learning how to face reality. No matter how hard you're willing to work, maybe that one skill is just slightly out of reach for you. That one's not in the cards for you. And then the lesson becomes, how do we react to that failure? How do I pivot to find success in a different way? Because, you know, no amount of 45-minute sessions in the world would help me get that Simone Biles double pike thingamabob. It wouldn't be in the cards for me. So these life lessons we gain from sports transition perfectly into many other aspects of life. And that's what matters most. Our relationships, how we treat people in our professional environment. So now as a professional, I am grateful to work for the Mentor Schools team. I'm so proud of what we do here. From my vantage point, the opportunities that we provide for students here in Mentor Public Schools just keep getting better and better, and I'm grateful for that for our community. Now to the relationships. I have an abundance of gratitude for the lifelong friendships built through Mentor Sports that led to becoming roommates in college, being in each other's weddings, visiting the hospital when our babies were born, and for me, having friends at my side during the loss of a parent. Relationships to cherish for sure. And the coaches we spent so much time with, they were a huge part of raising us, and I'll appreciate them forever. I was blessed with coaches like Joe Corrigan, Don Schutz is over there, I think I saw Coach Butler as well. Just great people who had such a great impact on the lives of all of the athletes they coached. But Joe Corgan is the kind of guy that not only shows up at your wedding to support you, he also makes sure he gets a dance with you. So tonight is extra special for me because I'm being inducted in the same class of Hall of Fame as Joe, and I'm joining my little brother, who was previously included, who I'm always so proud of and I'm one of his biggest fans. Before I go, and Tommy kind of alluded to it earlier, is it just me or has the song Glory Days been playing in everybody's mind all day long? It might just be my dad saying hi and channeling himself through some Bruce Springsteen today, but in all seriousness, it certainly has been fun to think about the Glory Days. I thank you for the opportunity to do that today. So many great memories, and I am truly touched by this occasion, and I have a whole lot of gratitude. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kristen Kirby. Our next recipient from the class of 2017, Miss Emma Lane. The four-year letterman and team captain for the Cardinals was one of the most impressive girls track athletes in Mentor history. She was the Cardinals team MVP in both 2016 and 2017 and was Greater Cleveland Conference MVP in 2017. She was an 8-time district champion and 4-time regional champion. She qualified for the state outdoor state meet 9 times and was a 5-time All-Ohio athlete. She placed second in the state in the 400 meter in 2016, third in the 400 meter in 2017, and fourth in the 4x400 relay in 2017. She was part of 6 school records during her time at Mentor in the 200 meter, 400 meter, 800 meter, and 4x200 relay, and 4x400 relay, and the sprint medley relay. Emma went on to compete at the University of Michigan and was a member of the Big Ten third place 4x400 relay team that set a school record. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Emma Lane.
I said I knew he was going to say something about Michigan. Okay, well first I'd like to thank Mr. Casella and everybody that put this event together. When Coach Burwald first told me I would be inducted tonight, my first thought was, oh great, I have to write a speech. But I will keep it short and swift like my races. So I first want to thank my family for their extraordinary support. I said it's not easy sitting in those meets in the freezing cold April or March and the unexpected snow in April and then the heat in May. So I do apologize that I was always in the first and the last event for you guys, but I bet they preferred the indoor meets much more. And running with my sister was a great experience and some of my most special memories. I will always cherish our relay races together, balancing the roles of a teammate and just the bossy older sister. And I would also like to apologize to Coach Butterfield on behalf of the Lane sisters for always getting sick on you after the races. But in your defense, you did say if you didn't throw up, you didn't try hard enough. And speaking of my coaches, where do I start? They really are some of the best. Coach Butler's deep voice, always saying Miss Lane, will always echo in my head, and I especially appreciated his acceptance of my pop drinking before the state meet because he, didn't want to ruin any habits that I had. And Coach Burwald, he really was the calm, no-nonsense figure that I needed when I was spiraling before my races. And to Butterfield, you were my track therapist, my pre-race stretch and specialist. And I really won't forget us huddled in our pajamas in the parking lot of the state meet when the fire alarms went off. So proof you were always there for us, even at 2 a.m. And let's not forget Coach Walukas for his legendary one-liners. My senior year, I ended up keeping a log of his quotes. Some of the best being, I never believe anything Maple Heights puts in, and if I'm not laughing, it's not funny. So this community of coaches has been incredible and truly just hard to replicate. I'm grateful to have been a part of the team that transformed Mentor Track and raised the bar, especially in the 400, even though nobody wants to run that. And really an honor to have been on the first relay to start a nearly 10-year streak going down to the Columbus State meet. To close, I just want to share a quick memory. I was nervous before a 4x4 relay, before in the district final, and Butler leaned up against the fence and just told me to think of a happy place. And I remember closing my eyes and I looked up at him and said, "What time's practice tomorrow?" So really just a testament of the supportive environment the coaches created, helping not only me as a high school kid, but with somebody who had big dreams as well. So thank you all for being a part of this journey. I'm really honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame today with everybody else, and grateful to those who made it possible. Thanks. And go Blue.
Congratulations, Miss Emma Lane. Our next recipient in the class of 2007 for tennis, basketball, and softball, Miss Pam Quigney. Pam Quigney was a rare three-sport athlete who excelled in all of them, earning 10 varsity letters. In tennis, she was a 4-year letter winner and 2-time district qualifier. She earned all LEL honors in 2005 and 2006 and was Plain Dealer Player of the Week in 2005. In softball, she was a 2-year letter winner and district champion while starting in center field. She earned all LEL honors in 2007 In basketball, her leadership as a 4-year starting point guard was pivotal to the team's success. She was a 4-time LEL and district champion and a regional finalist in 2004. She scored 1,038 career points and garnered numerous honors throughout her career, capped off by an outstanding senior year. In 2007, she earned All-Ohio Special Mention, LEL Player of the Year, First Team All-Northeast Lakes District, News Herald First Team All-Star, and Team MVP. Pam went on to play basketball and tennis at Ohio Wesleyan University, scoring 1,413 points and being named to the North Coast Athletic Conference 30th Anniversary Women's Basketball All-Decade Team. Quite an honor. Following her collegiate career, she joined the United States Air Force. She rose through the ranks to captain and earned the Air and Space Commendation Medal for meritorious service. On December 31st, 2023, after a decade of honorable service to our country, Captain Quigney separated from active duty. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Pamela Quigney.
Wow, I'm really hungry. I don't know about you guys. Can't wait for those appetizers. All right. First off, thank you so much to Jeff and the committee for this honor, for selecting me. So I wrote something out, so hopefully it won't be so long. All right. When I was in the 3rd grade, my parents signed me up for the Menor Basketball Association, where we played every Sunday at the high school. Soon after that, my family and I would begin attending the high school girls' basketball games. It was during these moments I would walk the hallway behind the gym and look at all the plaques hanging up on the wall of the members of the Sports Hall of Fame, and I would think to myself that one day I too would be on that wall. That was roughly 25 years ago. Well, today my childhood dream has finally become a reality. I want to thank Mark Chacon, my high school basketball coach, for nominating me for this honor, and more importantly, for deciding that I would be his next Molly Patterson, or his starting point guard when I was only in 8th grade, and for helping develop my signature jump shot, and of course reaching the 1,000 point club. Mark was the most intense coach I've ever experienced, but no one can deny our success, winning 5 district finals 5 years in a row, even if it meant I dribbled the ball up the court with tears in my eyes as he screamed, "You're soft as a pillow!" Or the more controversial, "You need to decide if you're a tennis player or a basketball player." Yeah, okay, Mark. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from Coach Chacon is that he would also say, "Don't take things personally," because I was always going to be a multi-sport athlete. So even though the bulk of my Hall of Fame career centers around basketball, I also enjoyed success with tennis and softball. I really appreciate Coach Joe Morgan, who's here today, my high school tennis coach, who identified me early and chose me for his varsity team as a freshman. I wasn't particularly as skilled as some of my teammates or opponents, but no one was going to out-hustle me. I was that annoying player who returned every shot and ultimately won because I wore the other team down. Under Joe's leadership, I improved my game a lot, developed my love for doubles, and was able to continue at the next level where I played tennis and basketball, for that matter, all 4 years at Ohio Wesleyan. Now, my first love in life is actually softball. My dad was a big baseball guy, so naturally my brother and I started playing baseball first before the other sports. We played so much in our backyard that we had dirt spots where the bases were. We would also go down to the village green in our neighborhood to play with all the neighborhood kids. We played with tennis balls as to not damage the nearby houses. I always thought softball was my best sport growing up, but at the high school level, it changed to fast pitch, which I did not like as much because of pitchers like Allison. I found it not as exciting, but I still played. And I played under Tom Horvath, who's also here. He was my coach, and he taught me to be a slap hitter. By my senior year, I got to start in center field and finish this season with the team's highest batting average. And with that, I earned my 10th letter. So besides making it into the Hall of Fame, I also wanted to earn double digits in letters, which I did. I kind of figured this day would come, I just didn't know when. But I'm happy it worked out this way, because I also get to be inducted in on my team as well at the same time. I was a freshman on the 2003-2004 girls basketball team. We were so stacked that year. And I see plenty of my teammates here in the audience, so congratulations to you as well. You know, 3 of us ended up scoring over 1,000 points for our career, talking about you, Smerdell and Scobie, and most of us went on to play collegiately. And for those who do not know, Megan Scobie, she's here, I see her, probably the best player to ever play in the Mentor program, played at Iowa under Coach Lisa Bluter, who recently coached Caitlin Clark. I love our small connection to Clark, who of course has the world paying attention to women's basketball. Society is finally starting to notice what we have known all along, that female athletes are talented and skilled, and women-girls sports are exciting to watch. But what I'm most happy about and grateful for is that I get to share this moment with my family and friends who are here with me today. My Uncle Paul, who played tennis with us growing up. My Aunt Sally, who was also one heck of a softball player herself. My neighbor, Mrs. Babcock, who supported me like I was another one of her kids. My brother Dennis, who I was always tagging along with. He was 1 year older than me. Always tagging along with, doing what he was doing, which was playing sports. My mother, Robin, the great statistician, who always had her chair and scorebooks with her and signed me up for every competition there was. I know a bunch of you here would go up to her and ask, how did my daughter do today? My father, Bill, who really inspired my love of sports and who would play catch with me and shoot baskets with us in the driveway. And of course, all you family members came to so many of my competitions, so I'm very grateful for your support. And now to my wife, Kyoko, who did not know me during this time of life, but who has been very supportive of me. She knows how much sports have played an integral part of my upbringing, and so I'm very grateful to share this moment with her. And lastly, to my nephews, Killian and Cortland, I was around the age you are now when I looked at those Sports Hall of Fame plaques on the wall, when I decided that I too would be on that wall. It's never too early, boys, to dream big. While this ceremony is indeed an incredible honor for me, I hope it also serves as an inspiration to you both, Killian and Cortland, on what you can achieve if you set goals and work hard. Thank you all so much for this incredible honor. I am forever grateful and blessed.
Thank you, Captain Pam Quigney. And now we're getting to the teams. The 2003-2004 girls basketball team. And those of you that are here tonight, we certainly ask you to come forward on the stage to be part of this wonderful honor. The 2003-2004 girls basketball team, led by head coach Mark Chacon. The 2003-2004 girls basketball team finished the season with a 24-2 record. They were LEL champions, district champions, and regional runner-up. Led by All-Ohio players Megan Scobie and Sarah Smerdell, the Lady Cardinals dominated opponents throughout the season, averaging 65 points per game, while holding opponents to 40 points per game. The team went undefeated in the LEL and won the Bishop Moore Tournament in Orlando, Florida. After beating Euclid 48-25 for their second consecutive district championship, they defeated East Technical 67-39 in the regional semifinal. The Lady Cardinals ended the season as regional runner-up after falling to Barberton 62-54. Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the Hall of Fame, all of the recipients behind me, the 2003-2004 Mentor High School girls basketball team.
Well, I want to start just by thanking Pam for all the stuff I said to her. That's the two that she picked. She didn't pick the one where I said to get your head out of your ass. So I'm really glad that she picked that one. I want to thank my wife who has done all the heavy lifting, put up with me. We've got 6 kids. She made a lot of sacrifices that allowed me to spend so much time away from home over all those years and do that and have opportunity to be here to talk about this special group. I remember the first time I met these guys. I just gotten hired, and we met at half court in the main gym. And we started talking about what they wanted to accomplish, what their goals were, you know, what they thought it would take to get there. And I was impressed by what I heard. It reminded me of something that Al Pacino said in Scent of a Woman. He said, "I always knew what the right path was, but I never took it because it was too hard." Now these girls, they chose a path. It was a path of hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and commitment. They wanted to make basketball meaningful. They wanted to make it special. They didn't want to just play basketball. And so that first meeting was the spring of 2002-03. And so they ended up, they played in tournaments every weekend of June and July. I don't know if you remember that. They played summer ball 2 nights a week. We got back into school, they played fall ball 2 nights a week, and they had workouts. So where'd that take the 2002-03 team? They were 22 wins and 2 losses. They were district champs, league champs, and they made a run to the Sweet 16 in Division I in the state of Ohio. That brings us to this team, this special group. And so what did they do? They went 24-2, set a school record of 24 wins, league champs, district champs. In those 2 years of 3-4, they were a combined record of 46 wins and 4 losses, with a trip to the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, which was the first time a team had done that since 1977. And so following that, these girls here set the standard. They're the ones that set the stage for the success that followed. And what success would that be? The 2005, the 2006, the 2017s, all won district titles, league champs. In fact, in those 5 years, those girls were a combined 105 wins and 20 losses. 5 district titles, 5 league championships, 4 trips to the Sweet 16, and 1 trip to the Elite 8. They made too hard doable. Now, there's 4 Hall of Famers in this circle. We know Katie Hine graduated a year earlier, but she's class of 2003 in the Hall of Fame. Sarah Smerdell, standing behind me, class of 2004, Hall of Fame. Megan Scobie, standing behind me, class of 2005, Iowa. And in the class of 2007, Pam Quigney. That's 4 Hall of Famers, and Kelsey Berger, Stephanie Rogers are just a couple to follow the Hall of Fame just within the years shortly thereafter. In fact, the 2009 team additionally went to the Elite 8, and some of these girls played with some of those girls. So these are the girls that set that standard. They're the ones that put in the time and the effort that it took for such great accomplishment. I want to do just two more quick things. I want to mention the girls on this stage, and additionally, and probably will get this wrong in terms of who played college, but here's the best of my recollection. Chrissy Stragisher, 04, played at Muskingham and coached there. Kelly Mueller, 2004, soccer at Heidelberg. Sarah Smerdell, 2004, played at Marist. Megan Scobie, 2005, played at Iowa. Katie Goodhue, 2005. Cheryl Koth, 2005. Kim Mueller, 2006, played at Wheeling Jesuit. Megan George, 2006, University of Buffalo. Laura Canteri, 2006, IUP. Amanda Beatty, runner in college. Brianna Martoni, 2006. Lindsay Mullaney, 2006. Pam Quigney, 2007, Ohio Wesleyan, and Kelly Jokala, 2007, Mount Vernon Nazarene. Now, I could go on for the other years following, but Mr. Casella only gave me 3 minutes, so I'm going to stop there with that. And I'm going to close on this. It's something that Sylvester Stallone said in Rocky V. As Rocky Balboa, he was trying to remind his son of what he could be and what he should be. And he said that nothing hits harder than life, and it will beat you to your knees if you let it. And it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. And that's exactly what these girls did. Congratulations, and thank you.
Hold on to it till after.
And the final recipient tonight will be another team, the 2013 softball team. So those of you that are present, please come forward, and we want to recognize the 2013 softball team. The 2013 version of the Mentor High School softball team made history by becoming the first team in school history to advance to the Ohio High School Athletic Association State Final Four, with dominating pitching from freshman Allison Gock and led by senior infielder and team MVP Lindsay Valvoda. The Cardinals went on to a magical run through the postseason. The Cards started the postseason with a 2-win over Chardon in the sectional final before defeating South 3-1 and Riverside 3-1 in the district final to earn the district title. In the regional tournament, the Cardinals defeated Solon 3-2 in extra innings before defeating Medina 5-2 to earn the right to go to the Final Four. In Akron, for the state Final Four, the Cards fell to North Canton Hoover in the state semifinal to end their season. Led by coaches Emily Strobel and Kate Dorian, the Cards were a team that battled through adversity, injuries, and a tough schedule to put them in the position to end the year strong. We congratulate, ladies and gentlemen, the 2013 in the Hall of Fame softball team of Mentor High School.
I see they saved the best for last. Hello, my name's Emily Strobel, and I was the head coach of the 2013 Mentor Fast Pitch team. I'd like to thank the committee, Mentor High School, our athletic director, Jeff Casella, my assistant coach, Kate Dorian, along with the family members and fans who supported us along the way. On behalf of the team, I would also like to congratulate the new Hall of Fame members here tonight. To be inducted into such an esteemed group among such legendary figures is a dream come true. The team that stands before you is the definition of lightning in a bottle. After the first practice, it was clear that they were going to accomplish great things. Little did I know, they were actually going to become the first and only high school fast pitch team in all of Lake County to have ever made it to the state Final Four. And although softball is a team sport, each individual player here contributed to our success and deserves recognition. When I call your name, please step forward. Bailey Beach, Ariel Bertley, Mark Ancausi, Paige Semino, Katie DeSanto, Emily Durfee, Allison Golik, Jordan Kramer, Casey Lee, Carly Morazzo, Megan Massey, Amy McDonald, Kelly McKinney, Emily Morgan, Kelly Palmer, Rachel Stack, Lindsay Valvoda, Heather Walker, Rachel Wallace, and Nicole Will. Our regular season had its difficulties with bad weather and injuries, including my own. But by the time playoffs began, the team had become a force to be reckoned with. After breezing through games against Chardon and South, we went on to defeat Riverside 3-1, claiming the district title. We continued this streak, defeating both Solon and Medina in regionals, thus becoming the first fast pitch team in Mentor's history to ever win the regional championship. So as time has passed, and the day we had been preparing for had finally come, it was state playoffs. We arrived at Firestone Stadium full of adrenaline and excitement, only to be greeted with storm clouds and rain. The start of the game was actually delayed an hour and a half, but despite my concerns, the officials insisted we finally begin. To nobody's surprise, Ohio weather had other plans, and we barely made it through the start of the first inning before another delay. This time it would last 6.5 hours. During this time, our opponent, North Canton Hoover, was able to go home, dry their uniforms, eat a home-cooked meal, and even practice at their indoor heated facility. Must have been nice. We, however, did not have that luxury and ended up taking shelter at the local mall. Many players scrounged for food, others napped on the uncomfortable benches by the fountain, and as Allison Golik reminded me, some even rode the indoor train that drove through the mall. We tried to make the best of an unfortunate situation, but after 6 wet and cold hours, we had to return to the stadium. Ultimately, we would lose against the 7-time state championship team, who then went on to win the state title for the 3rd year in a row. But despite this loss, the 2013 fast pitch team had already broken records and made history. Allison Golik broke the record for slugging percentage, doubles hit, and strikeouts pitched. Mark Ancausi broke the record for on-base percentage, Lindsay Valvoda broke the triples record, and Jordan Kramer broke the record for most bunts and stolen bases. These accomplishments are a testament to the power of teamwork and the importance of perseverance. Coaching this remarkable group of young women for Mentor High School has truly been one of the greatest honors of my life. I am grateful for this opportunity to reflect on an incredible season and to celebrate the people who made it possible. I am genuinely proud of each and every one of you. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame and the season of a lifetime. I just wish that I remembered it.
You're off stage now. Here we go.
All right, I know we're all ready to itching to kind of go and socialize for a while and just reflect with each other and remember some memories, but I would be remiss if I didn't make a few thank yous here tonight. First of all, to Mr. Craig Heath, our superintendent of schools, and our Mentor Board of Education for their support of the athletic department here at Mentor. It's top notch, and we see the results on nights like this. To our high school administration, led by our principal, Mr. Crow, all the people that helped me do my job here at Mentor. To the Hall of Fame committee, they're behind the scenes and doing all the things of the prep work, but I just want to name them: Bob Civic, Bob Burwald, Matt Gray, Don Schutz, Chris Whitaker, Sarah Smerdell, Heather Ambrose, and Denise Miernick for their support and helping put this all together. Also, our MC of the evening, Mr. Rick Danberger. Let's give Mr. Danberger a round of applause. I will say that it is really weird on a Friday night to not hear that voice over the PA system. So, he's enjoying family time, and we appreciate all the time that he puts in for us. All right, a couple of the just kind of housekeeping things. We're going to have you take the plaques with you over to St. John Vianney Social Center, take pictures with them and all that kind of stuff, but I'm sorry, you don't get to keep them. I need them back there, because those are the ones that actually will hang in the hallway at Mentor High School. I did send out an email to all of you that if you want to get one of your own to have at your house, you have that opportunity to do that. I do want to remind you that we've invited all of our inductees to the homecoming football game tomorrow night as the Cards take on Cleveland Heights. Should be a pretty good game. The game starts at 7 p.m. If you want tickets to the game tomorrow night, see me at the over at the reception. I have tickets for you if you'd like to come. We will introduce the Hall of Fame at the end of the first quarter of the game, so I'll have you meet me on the track right behind the Mentor bench, and we'll introduce you to the crowd there as our latest Hall of Fame induction member. So hopefully you can be there and join us. Before you leave out of here, though, we would like to take a group picture of all of our inductees with your plaques up here in front of the big Mentor banner. Just helps us remember each one of these classes. Be safe going over to St. John Vianney. We'll see you all over there that are attending. Thanks again for coming tonight. And as we say, once a card, always a cardinal. Thank you.